Welcome back to the Pro Sports Podcasters. My name is Bergeron. Most of you know me as Kobe, and today with Nii Wallace-Bruce. Most of you know him as the NWB. How's it going, Nii?
Not too bad, Kobe. And you can find us on social media. We're the Pro Sports Podcasters. We are at pro.sports.podcasters on Instagram, and on Twitter we are at PPodcasters. We're also on Facebook. You found us on YouTube. Thank you for that. And you can find our podcast over at our website, which is www.prosportspodcasters.com.
And when you visit the website, scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter. We have what's called the PSP Insiders. You'll get additional information that we don't cover in some of our social medias. You won't see on all of our YouTubes, but especially if you're into NFTs, we'll have a few special kind of like hints and tips to go along with some of our newsletters coming up in the near future. So visit all those social medias. Be sure to follow us. You're going to get a lot of information covering a lot of different sports, not just football. But today the topic is football and specifically NFL all day. And I've got Nii with me, who's our statistician when it comes to the players. And we're going to look at defensive backs. Nii?
Yeah, defensive backs. This is I guess, dynamic position. The secondary is not what it used to be 10 or 15 years ago. We're seeing the rise of the slot cornerback, along with the rise of slot wide receiver. We're seeing defensive backs who are playing linebacker as well. So that dynamism means that statistically things are going to change as well for our players we're going to be looking at today. But let's start off with one of the premier cornerbacks in the competition, Nii Moore. Nii Moore plays the Colts, and the Colts should have been playing playoffs this year. 2021 should have been their year. They should have won the AFC South. They didn't. They didn't even make the playoffs, but it wasn't Nii Moore's fault. He did his job on defense. He was making plays, making interceptions, passes defended. He was doing his bit. The problem lies with the offense.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not going to be a factor if you're looking at a player that you're hoping to get the occasional interception, that you're hoping to make tackles, you're hoping to have passes defended. He's going to do his part. And I love that he picked Nii Moore because right now we're looking at players under $10. We've got the marketplace sorted from low to high, and he is the first name that pops up on the DB list at a ridiculously low $5. This is like free, okay? There's no way he should be $5. It just shouldn't happen. If you don't have him on your collection yet, hop on the marketplace, spend your $5, get yourself Nii Moore because the guy's legit.
There we go. And he's going to go from good to great because you can see that the Colts, they are going to make a change at quarterback. So they already have a playoff caliber defense with guys like Moore, and the offense should come back up to that level. They're going to be a team that you're going to want to watch in 2022. Next off, we're looking at Levi Wallace and the Buffalo Bills. Now, Levi Wallace, again, another top cornerback. This is a guy who had to step up when Tre'Davious White was injured. Wallace saw a lot more of the number one wide receivers on the opposition. Now, White should be back in 2022. Wallace is a guy that, regardless, he does his work. He does his work on the perimeter, and he gets his tackles. He also gets interceptions. And he's not fun for quarterbacks to throw towards. So when I see Levi Wallace at $5, this one in particular is an interception in our Super Wildcard Weekend series. You want to take us through what that means?
That means it's part of the limited edition set that got released during the wildcard game. So again, it's not numbered to 10,000 like your typical common. This is actually numbered to 8,500. So it's got some additional value there because it's a little bit rarer than your traditional common. Although I don't put as much stock in the, say, Super Bowl set or divisional round set or wildcard set. Although this still is a bonus because not only is it part of that set, but it's also his all-day debut. So it's the first one ever printed of Levi Wallace. And again, this is a name that goes unnoticed primarily because of Tre'Davious White, because he gets all of the attention when it comes to the cornerbacks on the Buffalo Bills. So that's why he's at $5, even though he shouldn't be.
Value for money. Now, staying in the AFC East, let's go across to New England. J.C. Jackson. This is a name you may have heard a lot more about in 2021 because when Stephon Gilmore was sent down to Carolina, Jackson became the guy. And he had a heck of a season on a Patriots team that they overachieved a little bit. They
easy schedule though.
Easy schedule, but they did the best with what they could. And he's now coming up to free agency.
I think he's going to get franchise tagged.
I think that's probably the only way that he stays. The Patriots are notorious for not paying their players, so
That's right.
either they franchise tag him or he leaves. But wherever he ends up in 2022, this is a guy you can look at and feel comfortable with that he's going to make plays on defense. He's, again, another cornerback that quarterbacks don't like throwing to.
I think statistically he's a top 10 cornerback.
I would probably put him in the top 5.
Wow.
In the league right now. He's that good.
$6. Come on, man.
Good if you can get it. Now let's take a further look down. And another cornerback. This is a guy who you may remember from the Super Bowl. This is Mike Hilton from the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Hilton played for the Steelers. And now he's moved across the AFC North to the Bengals. The Bengals, they were maligned a little bit for getting torched during the playoffs in their secondary, but that's related to Eli Apple and Chidobe Awuzie. Mike Hilton's probably the leader of the secondary, along with another guy who I'm going to talk about. And he's someone that you can look at and feel pretty good about next season. He made a pass defense in this moment, another Super Wildcard Weekend moment, and there's probably going to be more of those in next season.
Another thing I like about Mike Hilton and the Cincinnati Bengals in general is that the Bengals are a pretty high-scoring offense. Okay, they can put numbers up quick, which forces opponents to throw against them and gives more opportunities to the defensive back. So I like Mike Hilton for that purpose.
There we go. Now, we'll come back to Cincinnati in a second, so hold that thought with the Bengals defense. But I want to go across to my 49ers, and I want to talk about Jimmy Ward. Now, he's typically a free safety. He plays a bit deeper, but he also plays on special teams, because this moment was actually a block kick when he was on special teams. Now, the Niners had a lot of injuries at cornerback and across the secondary, but they still performed pretty well. I'd love it if they were able to get someone like Stephon Gilmore in free agency to shore up the perimeter. But regardless, across the middle, Jimmy Ward's the guy, and he has Jaquiski Tartt in front of him. I'm not going to talk about him anymore. But Jimmy Ward, if you know, you know. Jimmy Ward, he makes his plays. He makes his tackles. He's good for an interception. He actually catches the ball. And this is someone that I like to take the next step in D'Amico Ryan's defense next season.
For those of you that don't know, Nii is a huge 49ers fan. I am not, but I got to agree with him here. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Ward. So this isn't just, him talking about his guy. This is a legitimate player that at the current value is significantly undervalued. He's definitely going to be a $20 plus player when the season begins next September.
Absolutely. And another guy who I think will be $20 plus is Jessie Bates. Now, this moment is very interesting because, if I'm not mistaken, this is from the Super Bowl series. You want to talk us through that?
Yeah, this is a Super Bowl moment. So this intersection took place during the Super Bowl, right? So you're getting that additional utility there. And again, like I said, I'm not that big on the divisional rounds and the Super Bowl moments and such, but if you're going to collect a set from a specific event, it may as well be the Super Bowl. So it's got additional value there. And once again, it's an all-day debut. It's the first of his moments that were printed, so it's got additional value there.
Right. Now, you may be wondering, Jessie Bates, who the hell is that? Is this a flash in the pan? I'm going to say no, it's not, because Jessie Bates also made an interception against Mr. Derek Carr in the wild card round, and he also made an interception against Patrick Mahomes in the championship game.
It's crazy.
So, this is a guy... Yeah, this is a guy who plays strong safety, but also a little bit deep. He does a little bit of both. He does run stopping and coverage plays. He gets involved for the Bengals, and they kind of need him to because they do struggle at times because of guys like Awuzie and Eli Apple. But Bates, he looks for the ball, he finds the ball, he gets his plays in, he gets his stats. This is someone I'm confident in to make plays next season.
I think he's a 50-plus tackle guy, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely.
He gets a fair amount of tackles, so he has double duty there, right? Someone I want to add that you skipped over, but I really like Chris Harris Jr. Okay, now part of that being I'm a Broncos fan. He was originally a Bronco and a great one. He jumped ship, joined the enemy with the Chargers now. but he's still a phenomenal cornerback. The only hesitancy I have with Chris Harris Jr. is that he's so good, there are some games where he's avoided. And as a result of that, he doesn't get the stat lines that you'd like. But against some of the more powerful offenses that are forced to basically challenge him, then you'll see him have his days. So it could be a spot kind of guy, depending on who the matchup is.
Absolutely.
Is that everyone for you for the DBs?
Yeah, Corb, I think that's a pretty good selection for our audience. We thank you as always for watching. And if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe. If you want to comment on some of those plays, if you agree or disagree, please do. It helps us out with what we're doing here, and tune in for the next one.
And a quick note, the reason why you're seeing a lot of these prices so low right now, there's been a lot of question about what's going on with the marketplace. Why would somebody pay $50 for a pack, open it, and then sell 3 moments in that pack at an average of $9 each, right? It'd be like going to a dealership to buy a car, driving it home so you can sell it secondhand. It doesn't make any sense. And why is this happening? I'll tell you why it's happening. It's happening because the majority of the people who have jumped on these platforms are not true fans of the sport. I would hazard a guess that more than 50% of the people who have bought into NFL All Day at this point are not real NFL fans. They're not. And I think a big reason for that is because the marketing done ahead of time didn't target the fan base. It targeted people who were into crypto. That's really where the original sort of marketing went. So the first people to jump in are people who are already involved in crypto in some way or form. They could have been on the NBA Top Shot platform. They could be somebody who's into crypto kitties or one of the dog-faced cryptos or whatever, the gorilla cryptos and such. And they came across it and thought, this looks pretty interesting and the NFL's a big deal, so I'll get involved. They have no real emotional attachment to these players, and a lot of them don't know who any of these players are. So as a result of that, if it isn't an automatically recognizable name, and I'm talking about somebody who's, the top 20 players, marketable-wise, in the NFL, they're just not interested. And that's why you're seeing that now. But as this grows and as it gets marketed, you're going to guaranteed see it being pushed during the draft, being pushed during training camp, and of course the lead up to next season will probably have a heavy push. You're going to have more fans enter the marketplace, and then the prices will reflect that. So right now, if you can, buy everything you want because the prices are just ridiculous.
There we go.